In Genesis, God creates humans twice, once in chapter 1, once in chapter 2. The stories don't match. In one, God is called Elohim. In the other, Yahweh. For centuries, readers noticed these oddities. Then, in the 1700s, a French physician made an observation that would unravel 3,000 years of tradition. That physician was John Astruc. His key insight: the different names for God aren't random, they cluster into coherent narrative threads. Passages using Yahweh tell one version of events, passages using Elohim tell another. Read them separately, and each forms a complete story. This became the foundation of what scholars call source criticism. Analyzing ancient texts to identify distinct documents woven together by later editors, Astruc believed Moses compiled these earlier sources. Later scholars would reach a more radical conclusion. German scholars expanded Astruc's work throughout the 1800s. They identified not 2 sources, but 4. The J source, named for the German spelling Jahweh, features vivid storytelling and an intimate human-like God who walks in gardens and closes ark doors. The E source uses Elohim and portrays a more distant deity who communicates through dreams and angels. The D source, found mainly in Deuteronomy, has a distinctive sermonic style focused on centralized worship. The P source, the priestly material, obsesses over genealogies, rituals, and precise dates, presenting a cosmic, orderly God. In 1878, German scholar Julius Wellhausen crystallized these findings into the documentary hypothesis. His key claim: these aren't just different authors with different styles, they wrote in different centuries, reflecting how Israelite religion evolved over time. J, the earliest, emerged around 950 BCE during the United Monarchy. E followed around 850 BCE in the Northern Kingdom. D appeared around 620 BCE during King Josiah's reforms. P came last, around 500 BCE, after the Babylonian exile. A final editor, called a redactor, wove these sources together into the Torah we have today. This reframes everything. The traditional view: Moses wrote the Torah around 1400 BCE, describing events he witnessed or received directly from God. The documentary hypothesis: the Torah emerged from 500 years of religious evolution, roughly 950 to 450 BCE. Multiple anonymous authors wrote at different times, and editors combined their work. This means the texts reveal what ancient Israelites believed during the writers' eras, not necessarily what happened during the events described. The Torah becomes a window into centuries of evolving theology. How do scholars actually do this work? 3 overlapping approaches. Literary criticism examines style, vocabulary, and themes, noticing that some passages use elaborate genealogies while others prefer dramatic narratives. Source criticism isolates distinct documents within the combined text, separating the threads. Historical criticism arranges these sources chronologically to trace religious development. Each layer builds on the previous. Start with close reading, identify patterns, then reconstruct history. The method applies beyond the Bible to any ancient text with complex origins. A common objection: this theory exists to attack religion. The history says otherwise. Astruc himself believed in Mosaic authorship. He saw Moses used earlier written sources. The theory developed from close reading of the text, not anti-religious bias. Today, many seminaries teach source criticism. Religious scholars across traditions accept the basic insight while maintaining their faith commitments. The question, how was this text created, differs from, is it true? Another objection: the 4 sources are speculation without evidence. Multiple lines of evidence converge. Vocabulary patterns. Certain words appear only in certain sources. Theological differences: J's intimate God versus P's cosmic deity. Duplicate narratives. 2 creation accounts, 2 flood stories interwoven. Anachronisms. References to things that didn't exist in Moses' time. Scholars debate details, some argue for fewer sources, some for more. But the basic insight, multiple sources combined by editors, commands wide acceptance. See this for yourself. Read Genesis chapters 1 and 2 side by side. In chapter 1, God speaks creation into existence over 6 days in cosmic order: light, sky, land, plants, animals, humans. The name used, Elohim. In chapter 2, Yahweh forms a man from dust, plants a garden, then creates animals, and finally woman. Different sequence, different style, different divine name. The flood narrative offers another test case. Scholars argue Genesis 6:9 interweaves two complete flood stories, one from J, one from P, with different details about animals, timing, and God's character. This approach, asking when was this written and why, transforms interpretation. A law code written during the Babylonian exile carries different meaning than one written during the United Monarchy. A story emphasizing centralized worship in Jerusalem reflects different concerns than one celebrating local shrines. Context shapes meaning. The documentary hypothesis doesn't diminish the Torah. It reveals layers of human thought, centuries of wrestling with questions about God, ethics, and identity. The text becomes richer, not poorer. The question isn't just, what does this text say? It's, what did it mean to the people who wrote it, and why did they write it that way? Source criticism offers tools to answer that question for the Bible and for any ancient document whose origins hide beneath the surface.